So in this video, I'm going to be deep diving around flip properties, how to find them, how to analyze them, and how to make the most money from them. So you're going to want to stick around for this video. If you are new to the channel, my name's Jamie York. I've been investing in property for the better part of a decade now, and this channel is brought to you to add just as much value as I can for free, all around beginner, intermediate, and advanced property investment techniques. And if you're interested in that and this is a channel for you, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And hey, if you're interested in me creating any particular video, let me know what you want me to talk about in the comments. And I want this to be an engaged group where I'm creating content that's going to add value to you most. So we're going to break this down into 7 simple steps, all of it culminating into that final 7th step, which you're going to want to stick around for, where we're going to be tying it all together with the end-to-end process. So let's jump into number 1. Now, before you do anything in any property investment strategy, is you need to research. Okay, now this is all about researching the area. Now, a lot of people don't think about the foundations of any sort of strategy. They just hear, oh, flip, service accommodation, buy to let, HMO, blah, 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 whatever it is. And they go, yeah, shiny penny syndrome, jump into it. But actually, in order to be successful in any strategy, you need to do your research. So what does that look like? So part 1 of the research area is the price range. Now, this is really important because most people aren't thinking about the exit opportunity within this, but a flip, that's the most important part. See, people think, oh, money's made when you sell it. It's not actually. Money is made when you buy it. So when I'm purchasing the property, we already know what profit we're going to be making on that flip. And the reason why is because I understand the price range is at the end. Well, what does a price range even tell me? Well, what it's going to tell me is what spec of property that I need to do. It's going to tell me what sort of buyer we're looking at. Is it going to be a first-time buyer, or is it a multi-millionaire that's buying this as their family home? And the better you understand the price range of your end market, the better you're going to understand what you can pay for the property in the first place. The second part of research area is your property type. Now, this is really important as well, because you're going to understand the demand in an area. We're going to go through research in a moment of how you're going to break this down, but you need to understand, is it going to be a 3-bed, a 4-bed, a semi-detached, a detached, a flat? Are you converting a 1-bed into a 2-bed? Whatever it is, the better you understand the type of property you're going to be working with, it's going to help you analyze the property more effectively, and just as importantly, it's going to help you understand the demand and how to price up the property in an effective manner moving forward. This ties into the third part of researching your area, is who is your end buyer. Now, this might seem really trivial, or who cares, they're buying it, but actually this is completely different. For example, I can increase the end sale of a property price by about 5% if I know the likely buyer of this property is going to be a young family. Now, that's really important. Well, why would that make a difference? Well, if I know that the ideal buyer for something is going to be a young family, I will dress the property. Okay? And the reason why I'm going to dress the property is because people are going to go in there and they're going to feel like they live there. Okay. Now, when you go into an empty property, it's like, oh, I'm trying to think about where this would go, where that would go. But actually, when you dress it, you don't need to spend loads, by the way. People end up seeing the property and going, oh yeah, I can imagine sat on that sofa, or I can imagine going here and doing this. And a lot of people want to actually buy the furniture that's in there. But even if they don't like it, they can say, I don't like that, I would put it this way. And already the psychology of the buyer is they're already living there. Okay, and then they're trying to match the price to make sure that they get that house as their home. Number 2 of 7 is financing routes. Financing routes are really important. Now, before you can analyze the deals and understand what you can pay for it, you need to understand what your financial situation is. Now, if you are in the fortunate situation where you're able to buy this with cash, amazing, congratulations, you're probably going to be able to pick up more deals. And this is for a couple of reasons. Number 1 is you've got more purchasing power, more confidence in yourself. The agent and the seller will be more confident in selling a property to you over somebody that doesn't have that. The other benefit that you've got is your criteria theoretically can be a little bit looser because you don't have cost of finance compared to somebody that's going to need to get bridging in place, or indeed an investor that they might be paying 6% to on an ongoing basis for their funds. So always understand your financing routes. Number 3 in this is assessing your project costs. Okay, we'll just put project costs on here. Now, this is really important, and this is where it all starts to tie together, because you need to understand how much it costs in your area. So, for example, in Leeds, I know that a decent buy-to-let standard, an okay standard might be 13, 14 grand. A good buy-to-let standard might be 16 grand, used to be a lot cheaper, but costs have gone up. And a flip standard will be around £20,000 for a 3-bed terrace property or semi-detached. Now, I said that to some of my trainees, some of my mentees that are down south, and they're like, what? That is absolutely crazy. And it is, because down south, if I were doing the same refurb, I'd probably spend 50, 60 grand on it in some of the areas that we invest in. Now, this is why it's so important to understand the price range, because if I'm talking about a 100 grand house, I'm not going to spend 50 grand on it. The property type and the demand in the area, and therefore the end buyer, because if my end buyer is a multi-millionaire that's expecting granite worktops, or they're a buy-to-let investor that are looking to get a kitchen in that looks decent, that is going to have a long-standing wear and tear life cycle, but isn't going to degrade too much for the right price, they're going to be very, very, very different kitchens that I'm putting in. On one of them, it might be a £20,000 kitchen. On the other, it might be a £2,000 kitchen. But you need to understand your project costs within this. And ideally, what you're going to get an experience of over time is a price per square foot, or per per square meter, dependent on what you're more comfortable with. Number 4, and this is really important, is assessing the real costs. So when I'm saying the real costs, a lot of people go, well, what do you mean? Well, the biggest mistake, and if you see my video about what they don't tell you about flips, I went through this a little bit, but people seriously miss out a lot of costs. Number 1 is COF. COF, what is it? COF is the cost of finance. Now, when I'm talking about this, I even mean, like, okay, if you're using your cash, there's an opportunity cost. What do you measure that at? If you're getting bridging, a lot of people go, oh yeah, my bridging only cost 0.6% a month. And it's like, no, it doesn't, because actually you only want that bridging for 6 months, maybe 6 to 9 months. You've got your entry costs, which are usually about 2%. You've got your exit costs that are usually 1%. Then you've got your broker fees. You've got your solicitor fees on refinance or sale. All of those things add up, and most people don't take account of them. Part 2 of this is your time. Okay, time. People don't actually understand the cost of your time. Now, when you're at the beginning of your journey, your time, frankly, is worth fuck all. Okay, so you have these people going, oh no, I need to outsource this. I'm not sure why they're posh in this example, but oh no, I can't outsource this. I need to outsource this. My time is worth more than this. You know, and people talk about understand your value and outsource between it. If you're not earning money, your time's worth fuck all in this new venture. Okay, so you need to actually put in the graph. But as you get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. For example, I do a 20 grand refurbishment that I know I can get done for around 17,000. But for me to get it at 17,000 will take a lot more of my time, and I know my time is more valuable than the £3,000. And as you build your wealth, you'll realize that the only true asset in life that's constantly depreciating is your time. So value it. Part 3 of the biggest cost that people miss out is redemption figure. That looks horrible. Redemption figure. So a redemption figure is the figure of refinancing or selling a property too soon. Now, dependent on how you are financing this property, depending on the mortgage type or bridging type, you always need to look at the small print to make sure there is no early redemption charges, or an ERC. If you're using a broker, you should outright ask them, are there any ERCs in this or early redemption figures? Because sometimes, and we've missed this a couple of times, even as what we would say maybe professionals now, we still miss it every now and then. So in the last few years, there's maybe 1 or 2 that we missed that's costing us an extra £2,000 per property. Don't make the same mistake. Moving on to number 5, which is actually setting the criteria. Now, I'm not going to be deep diving around this because this isn't the video for it, but now that you know the end price, let's say, for example, I want a 15% net ROCE. For those that don't know, that is return on capital employed. Well, great. If I know my end value of a property is 100k, guess what? The first thing I do is I take out my profit because that's most important for me. So I need 15k. Great, I'm at 85k. Okay, so if I know that I'm all in at 85k and that's what I'm willing to do, what's my cost of finance? Let's take off 10% just to make it easy. So there's going to be £8,500 now. Say it's 8,500. And so when we're taking this off, so we're now at 23,500, which means there's 76,500 left. Great, what's the refurb going to be? Let's make it easy. Let's say it's 16,500. To make it easy for the refurb and the fees that I've got in. Great, let's add that up. So now I've got 16,500 plus 8,500, which is 25,000 plus the 15k. We're at 40,000, which means what can I pay? I can pay the remainder, which is £60,000, assuming the fees are equal to that, okay? So it doesn't matter if somebody's listed the property at 70,000 or 50,000. You can pay 60,000 based on this criteria, which is why you need to know your criteria inside out. Let's move on to number 6. Number 6 is finding your team. And remember, we're going to be tying this all together in number 7, so stay around for that. So number 6 is the refurb team. Now, people massively overcomplicate this. The best advice I can give is find a project manager and somebody that has actually been doing this for a while. Now, the best person that I find is usually a carpenter of some kind, somebody that's been installing the kitchens and doing that. The reason why I like them is they usually have to go back fairly often. So the same people that fit kitchens on a basic level, they're usually people that will put up the strut walls and things like that. So they're constantly back and forth. So they're usually there for the end-to-end process. They usually become some form of project coordinator. Find somebody that's really good at that, build a relationship with them, and they know other people, and you've got yourself a makeshift project coordinator, but with great teams around them to keep the costs low. And eventually, once you're getting up to a bigger standard, find yourself an in-house project manager. But let's start with the kitchen fitter and go from there. So now that we've got that person tying it all together, which is the joiner, not carpenter, which I said that. Bad, Jamie. Joiner. We're tying it all together with the end-to-end, okay? Now, with this end-to-end process, that went horribly wrong. The end-to-end process, you need to just think about this. So now that you've got this criteria, you've kind of built your spearhead, and that's everything that we've created. Now, most people, they don't do this. They go out and they find the property first. But they go, well, oh yeah, I've got this deal, Jamie. What do you think? That doesn't mean anything. Jamie, here's a Rightmove link. Do you think this will make a good flip? It's like, well, yeah, at a certain price. But now that you've got this spear where you've got finance, you've got your criteria, you've essentially, and your team, you've now got what I like to call the attack plan. The great thing about this, now that you've got your finance, your route around you, your team around you, your carpenter apparently, who I actually meant a joiner, all of those people, you can go out there with confidence and have an attack plan to reach these people in the right way. The reason this is so powerful is now you can set your area map on Rightmove, on Zoopla, and you can say, hey, I want properties here between, let's say, 100 and 150k. And then what happens is they will come into your inbox and you can immediately chop them in very, very quickly, analyze the property subject to viewing, and put in your offer. This is how professionals do it. So every single day, we could have 2 to 5 offers going in subject to viewing. And what this does is gets in front of the right people, putting it forward. A lot of estate agents will go, no, you need to view it. It's like, that's great, but I don't want to waste either of our time doing that. Can you let me know if I'm there or thereabouts with this figure? And if you think it's worth viewing, let me know, but that's the likely figure I'm going to be at. It stops wasting everyone's time. You've got your spearhead, and I guarantee if you're going fishing with a harpoon rather than a net, you're going to catch exactly what you're looking for. Now, the truth is, how do you tie this all together? And look, I'm going to say this because I am a little bit biased on this, is you need the right training and support around this. So watch these videos. Hopefully you're getting value from this, and let me know if you want something else in the comments, because ultimately I'm creating this content for you. But at some point on your journey, you need to do what I've done and invest in a mentor. Now, caveat here, I am biased because I also train people, as you know. I also do mentoring for paid. And if you're interested in that, just put education below and we can have a chat. But that's not what this is about. Whether it's with me or somebody else out there, there's a lot of great trainers. You need to find somebody that has created their own sphere, that has been out catching these deals every single day for years, because ultimately you can learn from your own mistakes if you want, but I promise you, investing in your education and investing in your mentoring, I'd rather invest in somebody else's mistakes and have it for my own. And people say you can only learn from that. I'll tell you what, do I want to learn how to not go bankrupt as a company from somebody that's gone bankrupt already? Or do I want to learn through going through bankruptcy? Hopefully that's a question that doesn't need to be answered. But seriously, whether it's with me or somebody else, when you are ready to start investing in your future, you need to find somebody that's going to be able to tie this all together. And hey, hopefully I'm the sort of person you want to work with. And if I am, put education below. But if I'm not, that's okay too. And ultimately, if for now what you're looking for is just to immerse yourself in as much free education as possible, that's absolutely fine too. And if this is a channel for you, I'd really appreciate if you hit the subscribe button and of course the notification bell to make sure you're notified as the videos come through every Monday, Wednesday and Friday for your viewing pleasure. And hey, if you want to give something back with the law of reciprocity, it really helps the YouTube algorithm to push this out to more people if you smash the like button and let me know what you thought of the video in the comments, because it's going to help reach more people like you. I'll see you in the next video.